What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Adventures Tower. We've got some really cool updates about Marvel's Fantastic Four film. And I personally think, even though it's not a ton of news, it's actually really revealing about how Kevin Feige views this film and how busy he likely is setting up Secret Wars and maybe even developing his Star Wars project. So let's check this out. I'm over on Heroic Hollywood, which did cover the comments made by insider Justin Knoll. So it says here, Marvel's Kevin Feige looking for established director to helm Fantastic Four. Following John Watts' departure from the project, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is reportedly looking for a well-known director to take over the studio's Fantastic Four reboot. Disney, Marvel Studios' parent company, regained the film rights to the Fantastic Four in the acquisition of 20th Century Fox, now 20th Century Studios. The superhero team, consisting of Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and the Thing, previously made it onto the big screen in two different live-action incarnations. First in 2005's Fantastic Four and its 2007 sequel, and then again in a 2015 reboot. While the 2015 version was particularly poorly received, the earlier live-action adaptation of Marvel's First Family failed to really land with audiences. The pressure's on for the reboot to make the Fantastic Four work on the big screen, with many hoping their introduction to the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be the key to success. The Raimi effect, they say here. Things were looking up for the MCU version of the Fantastic Four when Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness introduced one of their members, John Krasinski, as Mr. Fantastic. While this was an alternate universe's version of the character, and Krasinski's casting as the MCU's primary Mr. Fantastic has not been confirmed, fans responded warmly to this first look at one of the FF in an MCU film. Behind the scenes, however, the film has hit a slight speed bump. John Watts, director of the MCU Spider-Man movies, exited the project at the end of April. Watts appeared to leave on good terms with Marvel, but nonetheless, Fantastic Four is now without a director. According to new reports, though, Marvel may be influenced by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness in their search for Watts' replacement. Unlike most Marvel Studios projects, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness brought on a big-name director, the original Spider-Man trilogy's Sam Raimi, when the original director Scott Derrickson left the project. While many Marvel Studios films have tended to rely on relatively unknown directors, Kevin Feige is reportedly considering looking for another well-established director to take over Fantastic Four. So here are the tweets used in the Heroic Hollywood article, but they leave out this first one for some reason in the article, so I wanted to kind of show the actual tweets here. It says, some late-night Fantastic Four directing search updates. While it's easily Marvel's top ODA. I had to look this up, but ODA means open director assignment. It's like an opening for a director. It's like Hollywood lingo. So it's their top opening for a director. One source says, don't expect it to be filled anytime soon, as they are not even close to cutting down a long list of candidates. I'd be shocked if a choice is made before Labor Day. Number two, he says, while no names have surfaced, multiple sources say, while it's a large mix of candidates, Feige and company are taking a lot of shots at some big names. One source close to the process said, Kevin doesn't want to oversee entire shoot, and after not having to worry about that with Raimi, he is very game to the same outcome with this shoot. Okay, so a couple of things to kind of dig into that. I do want to say that Justin Kroll is a trade reporter. He writes for Deadline and a lot of the Hollywood Trades, which, if you're not familiar with the difference between like Hollywood Trades or like a smaller site like Murphy's Multiverse, like you really should try to figure that out, because I get some people sometimes that'll say like all of these rumor sites are all correct or whatever, but it's definitely levels to the game. The Hollywood Trades have incredible access, and they're usually really spot on with the reports that they have. So Justin Kroll saying this about the Fantastic Four movie, writing for Deadline, a lot of credibility behind his statement. This report also dispels some of the other rumors that were out there. There were a lot of people just kind of saying they thought that maybe Krasinski was now going to be the director as he stepped away from his Amazon show, the Jack Reacher thing. He's like not doing that anymore, and he's a little bit more open. And of course, yes, he was Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness. So a lot of folks were saying, and sort of just some speculation, some reporting that Krasinski would be the guy. But if he's definitely the guy, a report like this coming out from a trade reporter makes no sense. So it's very likely the case that while I wouldn't describe this as necessarily scrambling for Marvel Studios, it's their top open director position. They definitely want to get somebody there, and they have a long list of potential people that they could do this movie with. I also love the fact that he might be going after a big established name like a Sam Raimi, because I believe Kevin Feige at this very moment is is more busy than he has ever been. We know that they are working on the script for his Star Wars movie. And I think, as I'm going to go into some videos later on in this week about that, Feige is very interested in putting together the best possible pitch and the best possible movie for his Star Wars film, which may still not actually be greenlit by Lucasfilm. But I believe that part of the strategy on Feige's part here is to present an absolutely incredible pitch that Lucasfilm just kind of can't say no to. And if they do, that'll cause like sort of a kerfuffle. Again, I will get more into that later on in the week in separate videos. I also think that what he is currently doing, pulling together the next couple of years of Marvel movies, which does lead to Secret Wars, is a massive deal for Feige. And so he cannot just micromanage and oversee all of these big films, and yet a movie like Fantastic Four, I think, is so damn important to him. And so it kind of feels like he's probably juggling things here, right? Like, he wants this movie to be on point. It's super important for the Marvel brand and for what I think he intends to do in Secret Wars and beyond. So he needs it to be great, but because he is so stretched and so busy, he's trying to go over and get a massive name, a huge like brand, and somebody that's really damn good at making movies so that they can oversee the film in the way that Sam Raimi did. Now, in a small sort of tangent on the Sam Raimi thing, I loved Multiverse of Madness. I know many of you did not, but I would argue that it's a really well put together film that does what it needs to do as far as setting up the future of the MCU. A kind of perfect balance between like a director's vision for a movie that departs slightly from the Marvel formula and the perfect balancing counterpoint where it does connect to things and set up big hyped things for the future. So I think that's really what Feige is looking for. And I believe that Multiverse of Madness was made even more difficult of a task for Sam Raimi because of the pandy, because of the changing of the way the movies were going to be released. So I don't think for a second that Feige is disappointed in Sam Raimi and what he did. And I think that probably behind the scenes, it was way crazier than we even heard about, which is maybe another reason why he wants a really established name to come help him make the Fantastic Four. And we just got another cool update about the Fantastic Four movie, and I want to add that part into this video right here. This tweet right here by Great Phase, who's another one of these kind of random anonymous leakers. Very good track record Great Phase has. But it says here, Feige is definitely game to make Fantastic Four in a very Star Trek inspired way. This is among the most important franchises he's ever done. So that's pretty crazy. And again, it sort of just doubles down on what I was saying before about how important the Fantastic Four is to Kevin Feige. And if you didn't know, Kevin Feige is actually a huge fan of the original Star Trek franchise and a lot of Star Trek ideas and concepts. And I think there's a little bit of a hint in here on a possible explanation for what Feige could be doing with the Fantastic Four. And I think that the first family, the Richards, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and her family, are going to be in some way Star Trek inspired. Like, they're going out there trying to explore the universe. And it's even possible that if they have been around for some time in the MCU, maybe the explanation for them not being actively involved on the events of Earth is not that they didn't exist, but that they were out there kind of like Captain Marvel, exploring the universe, trying to attain knowledge, and maybe even stop the incursions. So another just kind of little extra sweet little tidbit about what we can expect for the Fantastic Four. Again, very important franchise to Kevin Feige. Like, to me, this report just clearly shows how important the Fantastic Four film is to Feige, and yet he is still really stretched with other monumentally important things. Like, again, I really think that the Star Wars movie for him, very important, and I think that Secret Wars is the whole kit and caboodle for Marvel's next phase. It's very important, and Multiverse of Madness founder Charles Murphy recently came out and said that before the pandemic, you were set to see Secret Wars in 2024. And on top of that, it was going to be May 2024. That's how fast they were going to do Secret Wars. You may not want to believe that. You may think that's crazy, but that's the clip that Kevin Feige wants to work at as far as getting to Secret Wars. And so, yes, that's monumentally important. It is probably right around the corner, even now for him. Obviously, it had to be delayed, but it's a super big deal. So to me, I hear this report, I see it, and I'm like, damn, he's really juggling a lot. But yeah, it's cool that he's going after a big name. So who could direct the Fantastic Four movie. Who do I think would be a good pick? Well, I'll go over a few here, and I'll also talk about some that you guys brought up on the live stream I had earlier today. And I think a lot of these are really cool picks. Of course, let me know what you think about these different picks, and then let me know your pick for who you think should do Marvel's new Fantastic Four movie in the comments section below. So I think Brad Bird is a really interesting pick. He did the Incredible movies, and I just really like his sensibilities, and he has proven that he can handle live action. With the Mission Impossible movie that he made, I thought it was really, really good. So I'm a big fan of Brad Bird, and I think he works well within a story that is layered, has a lot of family elements, and is kind of a big deal. So I think that's actually part of the strength of his live action Mission Impossible film, because you treat that whole crew kind of like a family. And let's face it, The Incredibles is the best version of the Fantastic Four we've ever had on screen. I also still think John Krasinski would be a good pick. He's not exactly the big name, though, that Feige might be looking for, and this is perhaps part of the reason why he hasn't just been signed and confirmed, because although I think Krasinski is a really talented director, he doesn't really handle big budget films. He doesn't really handle entourage movies or big branded IP, right? His Quiet Place films are rather small, and there's a lot of charm and a lot of good stuff that goes into that, and I know he's done some television stuff as well, but he's not like established in the same way that like a Sam Raimi is. Similarly, there were rumors that Bryce Dallas Howard was going to be brought on to direct, and again, I just don't know that she has the pedigree to really warrant this kind of a job. There were rumors that she was going to work with Krasinski, and they could maybe tag team this thing, acting in it and writing and directing and producing, and that would be pretty cool. But again, it is not the established name that Feige may be looking for. I think Sam Raimi himself would actually be perfect. I'm curious onto whether or not he still wants to play in the Marvel sandbox. It seems like he does. He does want to maybe do some Tobey Spider-Man stuff still, and I think Sony would be really smart to get Tobey back ASAP, or Andrew back, or do something like that, because El Muerto just ain't it. And I know it's Morbin time, but Morbius is trash, and there's not a lot coming out for Sony that I'm excited about unless they can get one of these other Spider-Man back. I like Taika Waititi, but he feels like the same kind of problem that you might have with a Krasinski or a Bryce Dallas Howard, right? Feige's already had to remake two of friggin' Taika Waititi's MCU movies. Ragnarok was heavily reshot and put back together in post, and it seems like the same thing happened with Love and Thunder. I like Taika. I like his sensibilities, and I think he's really good. He's also working on Star Wars, maybe, so probably unlikely that Taika would sign. I don't think Taika is the kind of guy, the kind of director that you can just leave on your own, go develop Secret Wars, and come back and have mostly a movie put together. A couple of the names you guys picked in the live stream were Ron Howard, which definitely could work. He's a very established director, and I think incredibly talented, despite really not liking Solo. Steven Spielberg, incredible, like one of the best directors of all time, would be huge for a get for Marvel and for this Fantastic Four movie. I would love it, but I kind of doubt he would sign up for it. Ryan Coogler was a great pick. I actually think Coogler is an incredibly talented director, and yeah, he could absolutely do the Fantastic Four, and I'd love to see him get a project like this and just show that he can do everything, okay? Yeah, he can obviously do, the smaller movies, and what he did with Creed and those films. He can do Black Panther and all of that, but he doesn't have to just be regulated to movies with, a starring person of color, and maybe they will make some members of the Fantastic Four people of color as well, but regardless, like literally, that is irrelevant to the directing quality that I think Coogler has. I absolutely think he could do it, but after Wakanda Forever, my man might need a break. It seems like that has been a very difficult movie to create. And another great pick from the morning stream that you guys came up with was the Duffer Brothers, the two people that write and direct Stranger Things for Netflix. And I think these guys are absolutely incredible. I have no idea what they will do moving on after this amazing Netflix show in Stranger Things. Perhaps they're looking to jump from the Netflix ship, but maybe not. Maybe Netflix is going to offer them up a ton of money to develop another big show like that. But the way they handle family, younger characters, yeah, I really think the Duffer Brothers would be great in the Fantastic Four film. So there you have it. Pretty crazy update. I think there's a lot to read into this, and I'm, of course, really excited and intrigued about who they will get as a big name, or maybe not a big name, for the Fantastic Four movie. Let me know your thoughts about this and your picks for the director in the comments section.